Hey guys, SoCal Val here. You are listening to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast.
TNA Wrestling crossing the line again for their Slammiversary pay-per-view. They're sold out, by the way. Slammiversary pay-per-view on the TNA Plus app. What a show it was. New champions were crowned. Some surprise, more surprising than others. We're going to get into that on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast right now. A big point of note on this one, the Kushida Jonathan Gresham match did not happen. Jonathan Gresham did not make it to the pay-per-view. We understand that the global outage, the Microsoft outage that I was actually talking about on the Impact review, affected flights. He couldn't make it, as were apparently some surprises that Jordan Grace was talking about. They couldn't make it due to this outage. So that didn't happen, and that match didn't happen. But Kushida was still in action. We'll get into that in a minute. Sold out crowd, over 4,000 or so people there. TNA's biggest attendance in over a decade. Congratulations for that. Let's talk pre-show quickly. The Fatal 4-Way women's match on there. Really good match, actually. Saw Tasha Steelz defeat Fabia Pache, Giselle Shaw, and Zaya Brookside. I was quite surprised by that, actually. I was thinking more Giselle Shaw would pick up the victory the way that they had been presenting her recently on Impact. Was the suggestion for me was that she was going to win the match and start to reclaim that sort of pathway to the Knockouts Championship. But no, Tasha Steelz did pick up the victory in this. She has been really impressive recently as well. You could argue there was a case for Zaya Brookside because, again, she had been on winning ways as well. So there was a lot there. 3 out of the 4. I mean, I didn't really know enough about Fabi Apache to understand whether she had an opportunity, but she was very impressive as well. Nice way to kick off the show for the crowd over there in Montreal. We've just spoken about Kushida. He didn't take on Josh Alexander. He instead took on Rich Swann from First Class. That was Jonathan Gresham's replacement in this match. He come out looking a bit like a Kushi. Did Kushida, those sort of tattoos on his face or markings on his face. Again, a great match as you could become accustomed to with these two guys in the ring. They were, it didn't have a long match. It was 5, 6, 7 minutes at a push. A lot of the pre-show matches were quite short, actually, on the Countdown to Slammiversary. I mean, the first one probably went about the same, about 6, 7 minutes, as did this one. Rich Swann did tap out to Kushida on this one, and Kushida picks up the victory. Would that have happened against Gresham? We won't know. Hopefully they'll have a rematch down the line on Impact or perhaps at the next pay-per-view. We'll have to wait and see. But unfortunately, as we said, Jonathan Gresham could not make it due to travel issues regarding the global outage. The women's Knockouts tag team title match was next on the pre-show. Quite surprising that was on the pre-show. But the Masha Slamovich and Alicia Edwards did defeat Danny Luna and Jody Fret on this Spitfire. I don't say I wasn't surprised. I can't remember what I predicted on that one. I wasn't sure if I predicted new or retaining gold. I got a lot of the predictions wrong, unsurprisingly, because of the surprises, or some of say surprise results, maybe perhaps TNA put on this pay-per-view. But Spitfire did lose the tag team championships. Interesting to see where they go next with this. We'll talk a bit more about the system later on. Suffice to say, some titles they do have and some titles they don't have anymore. So it will be interesting to see what they do with the system on this. But nevertheless, Spitfire put in a great effort. It was a good match. Again, that one was just shy of 10 minutes, so it got a bit longer than most matches on the pre-show. Really good competitive tag team match, showcasing the 4 of the women's great talents that they've got. And the Malasha held on to tag team gold. So some of the system still have titles, that's for sure. Well, at least Alicia Edwards does. We'll get on with the rest later on. But I'm wondering who's next for those knockouts titles now. It's an interesting one. So again, it's a bit of a weird one because we were talking about this recently on NWA, and sorry to go to talk about NWA on a TNA show, but we were saying that the knockouts tag division, we were saying about how, sorry, the NWA tag division was a bit sparse and we couldn't really see what was next. It's a little bit the same with TNA. Who would be next for the knockouts tags? I don't see many people there at the minute. I mean, unless things change, and as we say, we've got tapings coming up as well, so we might get a better understanding as to what is coming next for the knockouts tag division. But it does seem a bit sparse in terms of actual tag teams. Yes, you can put two women together quite easily, make up a tag, but having actual tag teams there, it's a little bit sparse. So we'll see what happens for sure. And knowing TNA, it'll be absolutely fine anyway. Last match on the pre-show was Eric Young taking on the returning Hammerstone. I love Hammerstone. I could watch Hammerstone all day. Such a powerful, powerful person. Small criticism on this. It was 5 minutes. It felt like a glorified squash match for Eric Young, who did win. He picked up the victory over Hammerstone. Actually, on this, a little bit of a shame, really. I could have, as I said before, it just didn't go long enough for me. This one, I would have liked to have seen it given, at least 10, double the time that it got. But look, at the end of the day, it didn't get that time. And that basically is what it is on that, unfortunately. But Eric Young picks up the victory and will carry on. Hopefully we see more of Hammerstone going forward. I really do like Hammerstone and what he brings to the table. And there's something there about, and there's definitely something about him. He had some great matches a little while ago on TNA. So I'm hoping to see more of Hammerstone going forward. We'll see if he shows up this week on Impact Wrestling. Right, main card now. And the first match was a little bit of a grudge match, really. It was Broken Matt Hardy against Johnny Dango Curtis. Now, that's been happening over the last few weeks. Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, and the system have been getting into it a little bit. Obviously, this past week on Impact, the Hardys had the tag titles pretty much won if it wasn't for Dango coming in and throwing Jeff off the top rope, allowing the system to retain the tag championships, and then proceeded to injure Jeff Hardy's neck. There was also the bit before with Rebby Hardy as well. So they've had a lot of, shall we say, issues. So this match was a little bit more of a grudge match. But again, I would say very short. I don't think this match even went 5 minutes. So there was a, shortness of this match. I get it. Some matches will go long. The main event was always going to go long due to the nature of the actual main event itself. But this one, as I say, went about only 4 or 5 minutes before Matt Hardy picked up the win. Hit the twist of fate off the second rope to go through in this. Listen, Matt Hardy is over as ever. Dango's doing some great work, probably some of the best work that he's ever done as a character base with the system. Was really, really good. I mean, what's going to happen next? We don't know. Jeff Hardy, we don't know how long he's going to be out for also. So it's a bit more it's a little bit more, we don't really know what's going to happen there. The system, well, they're going to have more actions later on. It wasn't the end though, because like I said, this was a bit of a grudge match. Now at the end of this match, Hardy, after picking up the victory, hits 3 more twists of fates on Dango to really sort of, I would say, put to bed that feud. Now I can't see that going forward anymore. Unless something drastic happens, but I don't see there being any more of that. You sort of hit someone with 3 twists of fate at the end of a match, you're putting them out and putting them, down. So we'll have to see. But hey, that match for me, it was a good start, but it just didn't go long enough. But there we go. The rest of the card, I'm sure will, and we'll get into the rest of the card right now. The next match, the system, Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards, taking on Ace Austin and Chris Bay for the tag team championships. The system's held the gold for a while now. Chris Bay and Ace Austin have kind of been off and on in terms of being a unit. If you remember before, they had to have that match because things weren't going right as a team. They kept losing, so they put a one-on-one. There was issues with Ace Austin saying that Chris Bay took his eyes off the tag team championship because he was going for the X Division title. Ace Austin got an X Division title shot, wasn't successful either. it was kind of one of them where you wasn't sure whether the Bullet Club ABC would still be together, not at come Slammiversary or literally after this match. Now, the system did come out with Alicia Edwards as well. ABC coincidentally had new music. Go and check that out as well. So tag team title match. This match got the time. It got about 16 or so minutes, bell to bell. Great tag team match. Fantastic tag match. What you'd come to assumption when you've got two kind of veterans in there with Myers and Edwards, you've got exciting young talent in Austin and Chris Bay. It was fantastic. It was a really good, solid tag team title match. You had the heels getting the heat, and you had the waiting for that hot tag to happen as well. But we do get new tag team champions. Bullet Club ABC pick up the win and take some titles away from the system. And after everything the Bullet Club have been through, they finally got back on the soil. They've been on the same page for a number of weeks now, but nevertheless, it was Bullet Club ABC finally back to the Bullet Club ABC of old and picking up tag team gold. So congratulations to the ABC. It was a great tag match, really solid encounter. You know, I'm looking forward now to seeing what's next with ABC. They're finally on the page. They've got the straps back. We'll see what happens next with Bullet Club ABC, but I'm over the moon for them. I'm really happy that they've managed to get back together properly on the same page and win the gold. I'm sure the system will want a rematch for that championships as well, which I'm sure they'll get. But congratulations to Bullet Club ABC. We went from a tag team match as good as that to a hard-hitting slugfest between Mike Santana and Jake something. It was great. Loved this. To say, if you loved your high hit, if you love two big men going at it and just, I would say, yeah, it was a meat slapper. Why not? It was an absolute meat slapper of a match. Santana been back in TNA a minute, doing good things, really impressing on his return to Impact Wrestling and TNA Wrestling. Jake something, he's always been on the peripheries, had those X Division title shots. It was unsuccessful. He's always very impressive in the ring, and these two delivered a big, hard-hitting match for the 10, 11 minutes that we got it. Santana picks up the win with Spin the Block. And what's next? I mean, Santana should really be looking at gold now. He really needs to start looking at going for championships in TNA. He is so good. I love the way he goes about his business in the ring. Jake Summink is also so good, and there's so much more to come from that. I'm sure that there's so much more to come from those two, and championships should both be in there on their futures. I mean, look, Jake Summink, because we said he's had 2 or 3 X Division championship matches unsuccessful. Santana's not been back too long in TNA wrestling, but he should be looking at championship gold now for sure. And we'll have to wait and see. I don't think we'll have to wait too long. Obviously, they're taping Impact after Slammiversary. The next day after Slammiversary takes an Impact. So we'll see what happens in the future episodes of Impact with Santana and something. But Mike Santana picks up the victory in this one, looking as strong as ever. Now we have some NXT involvement. The Rascals, Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz, and NXT's Wes Lee take on NXT's No Quarter Catch crew, Charlie Dempsey, Miles Bourne, and Tavion Heights. Now, this has been stemming from the last few weeks on Impact. You will remember No Quarter Catch crew interrupted Leon Slater's match with Zachary Wentz, or Trey Miguel, I can't remember, one of the two. And they had a match with, No Court Catch crew had their 6-person tag with Kushida being the tag team partner of the Rascals just this past week. And then they got Wes Lee back to take them on this time. No Court Catch crew was successful on the Impact, on TNA Impact. This time the Rascals at full strength, no disrespect to Kushida, but this was a full strength Rascals with Wes Lee from NXT included against the No Quarter Catch crew. Listen, solid 15-minute 6-man tag. You get the high flyingness of of the Rascals. You get that technical brilliance of Charlie Dempsey in this as well. This was absolutely brilliant in this. You know, these six guys have got such great futures in wrestling. There is no doubt about it. Some really good action in this match. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This is where this Impact Wrestling, TNA Wrestling's relationship with NXT absolutely blossoms when you get matches like this and you can enjoy it, and you know, and you know that there's no crap about, oh, this guy has to go over, that guy has to go over. There's nothing like that. Um, there really isn't anything like that at all with this. It is solely a great partnership, working well for both parties, that's for sure. Joe Hendry being on NXT, looks like he's staying around NXT a bit longer as well. You've got this with the No Quarter Catch crew with Wesley going back. There's more stuff with the Jordan Grace stuff as well. So it's really working on this. And this six-person tag was just a great showcase of talent that both NXT and TNA have. And it was so good to see. It was 15 minutes long. Great match. The Rascals pick up the victory where Zachary Wentz pins Heights on this. It was such a good match. I really enjoyed it. We need to see more of it, that's for sure. And hopefully we'll get to see more on this on TNA. What's going to happen this week on NXT? Will there be more crossovers? Will Joe Hendry show up? Who knows? But it's must-watch TV at the moment, NXT and TNA, that's for sure, especially on the TNA Plus app. Do not forget that. Now, here comes the Digital Media Championship. And the Canadian International Heavyweight Championship. If you remember, AJ Francis had to defend them both against PCO. Now, earlier on, before Slammiversary, before the countdown to Slammiversary started, Santino Marella had come out and had made this match. I mean, let's face it, you got PCO, you got AJ Francis. Why not have it being a street fight, huh? Why not? You know, it was a street fight. Now, AJ Francis had Rich Swann, he had Smoke DZA, and he also had Josh Bishop. And if TNA have got Josh Bishop, that is an underrated get, in my opinion. You need to check him out. He is an absolute monster of a man. 6'4". He's built like a brick. Yeah, you know what. Too early in the morning to be doing those swearing on this show. It's not, but we are. Look, this was brilliant. There was this whole thing of this PCO Shan coming out of a casket as he got a really great entrance in this. Went 15 minutes. This had tables. It had literally had tables, chairs. There was a bit where Josh Bishop, I think, gave PCO, it was like a razor's edge through chairs at ringside. It was absolutely crazy. Sammy Callahan comes out on this and he gets attacked by Rich Swann during it as well. God, there's so much. And just when you think that was the end, out comes Rhino. He gored Rich Swann out the building. It was so good. The crowd were all over this, absolutely all over it. And PCO then hits the PCO moonsault. And you think at that point we got a new champion, but no, we don't. AJ Francis kicks out of there. It was absolutely incredible. And at that point, AJ Francis then pokes PCO in the eye. He hits a tombstone power driver on PCO, but PCO kicks out at 2. He then goes to chokeslam PCO, but he reverses it and chokeslams AJ Francis, hits the PCO moonsault, and wins the Digital Media and Canadian International Heavyweight Champion. Does PCO, but that's not all. No, sir. Steph DeLanda returns looking like someone out of the Addams family. Now, I thought that Steph DeLanda would turn on PCO or cost PCO the championship, but no. She falls to her knees and asked PCO to marry her. To which PCO says we, which is obviously yes, in France. So they're going to get married. I believe the wedding takes place on Impact Wrestling this week. Does a wedding in wrestling ever go according to plan unless you're Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth? I don't think so. What's gonna will she jilt him at the altar? Maybe. Who knows? Oh, good God. I have a feeling things ain't gonna go so well on Impact Wrestling on the TNA Plus app this coming Thursday. Be sure to check that one out. Jordan Grace was next against Ash by Elegance. This was actually Ash's. I think it was Ash's showcase match. 12 minutes or so of really good action between the two. Again, Ash is showing more and more that whole of how good she actually is. And she never, and I've said this till I'm blue in the face on this podcast, that she never really got that opportunity in the WWE to showcase this. The character wasn't right. Yeah, it could have been that her character wasn't even right on WWE TV. But this character, seeing her week in, week out, doing her stuff. It doesn't even have to be in the ring. In the ring, she's proven this match was probably one of her best matches I've ever seen. But she's getting so much better, and the confidence in her, and you can see everything about her on this, and it just looks so, so, so good. And I think that she will get gold in TNA. But it wasn't this time. No, no, sir. Jordan Grace picks up the victory. Rosemary gets involved, chases the Iceman out with a knife. Crazy on that. But she does hit the Juggernaut driver, does Jordan Grace, to retain the gold. And it's so difficult to see who's going to stop Jordan Grace at the minute. I don't see anybody being able to stop her whatsoever in this match. It is so interesting as to what happens in this. I just don't know. I really don't know who's going to stop her. Someone from it, maybe is someone from NXT. Are we going to see a WWE crossover and try and take that gold away from Jordan Grace? I don't know. But I do think that she's on the roll of her life at the moment, Jordan Grace, and I don't see anyone stopping it anytime soon. But it was such a great match. It really was. As I said, it showcased Jordan Grace. It gave you such a great understanding of just how good Ash is when she's having that opportunity. And long may it continue. I see her winning gold eventually. I really do. But it just wasn't quite now from Ash by Elegance. But there's not to say that she won't win gold later on down the line. Speaking of gold, X Division gold was next. Mustafa Ali, Speedball Bailey. If you need the story on this, it's kind of been Ali has been avoiding Speedball at all costs. He took on his partner. His campaign Singh cost Speedball the opportunity against his partner Trent Seven. Who was the winner of that was going to go against Ali at the last pay-per-view. That was won by Trent. Ali picks up the victory there. Speedball Bailey finally gets his opportunity at the X Division Gold. This match was it was brilliant, and it also took us way back to Survivor Series in Montreal, 1997. People will know where I'm going with this. There was so much going on before that. I mean, this was just two guys that just work so well, and this is why I said why I thought that it would have been better originally for Speedball to get the X Division Championship match ahead of Trent Seven, because I just felt that these two would work better in the ring, and they certainly did. No disrespect, I mean, Trent Seven and Ali put on a great show, by the way. That's not a hit on that match at all. But when you get two guys that just gel in this ring so well, like Ali, like Speedball. It just was brilliant. It's such a great match. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, going back to what I said, Shades of Survivor Series 1997, El Hebner was there. Um, Obviously, Trent Seven was there as well. The security was getting involved at some point. Um, And at one point, as Trent Seven got taken out by Ali, he signals to the back. Out comes El Hebner. The crowd boo the hell out of him. Ali puts Bailey in the sharpshooter, and El Hebner's going down like he did with Brett and Shawn that time. And as Ali calls As Hebner goes to call for the bell, even though Speedball isn't tapping, he hesitates and he won't do it. And he didn't do it. And at that point, Ali got in the face of El Hebner. He turned around. Speedball Bailey tosses a chair at Ali, then puts him in the sharpshooter. And Mustafa Ali did indeed tap out to the sharpshooter. The crowd went crazy. Speedball Bailey then picks up the X Division Championship. So Ali's run as X Division Championship, a great run as X Division Championship, has come to an end, unfortunately. But Speedball Bailey wins the X Division Championship in a great match. Yes, there was shades of 97 in there. You have to do a bit of nostalgia in Montreal. But what a great, great match that actually was. A match was made for Impact this week. There was the personal concierge was telling Santino that it was unfair with what happened with Jordan Grace at ringside. Hammerstone comes in and wants a match with Eric Young. So Santino decides, well, you can both have it because it's going to be Eric Young and Jordan Grace taking on Ash by Elegance and Hammerstone this week on Impact. So we're going to see more of Hammerstone, thank God, on this. Main event time. I mean, 6-person elimination match. Absolutely brilliant, by the way. Half an hour, just over, of great matching and a huge shock on this, by the way. We'll do the eliminations first. So first, actually, off the first wrestler eliminated was actually Steve Macklin, a guy that was on our podcast. Must be bad luck for him. He got pinned from a spear from Moose after about 10 minutes, and it was just a real shame, really. Macklin goes first, but if you look at this match, I mean, anyone that got pinned first is always going to be a shame or a shocker because of the nature, because of how great the 6 guys in there actually are. Normally, you get, and this isn't a hit, but normally a hit anyway. But normally, you get when you get a 6-person match, you normally 1 or 2 in there go, well, they're going to be eliminated first, and they usually are. So the fact that Macklin went first is a shock, but then any one of those 6 that would have gone would have been a shock. So unfortunately for Macklin, it was him. Moose hits him with a spear. Now, 11 minutes or so later, the next elimination is the TNA World Champion Moose. Gets eliminated by Joe Hendry after the standing ovation. I mean, that guarantees us a new TNA champion. But wow, Moose eliminated second in this match. You're talking about surprises. That's huge. Joe Hendry picking him up with a standing ovation and dropping Moose for the 1, 2, 3. Wow. But 60 seconds later, Josh Alexander low blows Joe Hendry, hits him with the C4 spike and pins him and eliminates Joe Hendry. Josh Alexander showing a new attitude here. I'm not sure that I like it. Not because he pinned Joe Hendry, but he low blowed him. He had to go stoop that low. He's a great pound for pound wrestler. He doesn't need to do that. But nevertheless, Josh Alexander eliminates Joe Hendry. So now we're down to Josh Kazarian and Nick Nemeth in this. This match was just so good. When we said it, I think we said how good it was going to be, with these 6 guys in the ring, and we broke it down with Macklin actually on the show. It was so, so good to have 6 guys. They're very sort of familiar style, but you do have, like you said, about the experience of Kazarian and Nemeth and the powerful poundness of Alexander, and the strength of Moose, the it factor in Joe Hendry with Macklin in there as well. It was an incredible match. Really, really enjoyed watching this one. But next person eliminated 5 minutes or so later was Josh Alexander. He got super kicked by Nick Nemeth to pick up that victory, to pick up that elimination. So it left just Kazarian and Nick Nemeth involved in this match. And they went on for another couple more minutes or so. before Nick Nemeth hits danger zone and hits the 1, the 2, the 3, and Nick Nemeth wins the TNA Heavyweight Championship. What a great result for Nick Nemeth. It was fantastic. They all come. You had the champions come out, Jordan Grace come out, PCO come out, Steph DeLander come out, Ryan Nemeth come out, and they all celebrated at the end of Slammiversary, did the champions, barring the system, of course. Yeah, Masha and Alicia. They're the only ones. And Masha and Alicia are the only, well, Alicia is the only member of the system that now has gold. Incredible. Well, oh, and ABC was also in there. Sorry, I forgot to mention Bullet Club ABC also in the ring for that. Incredible Slammiversary. Such a great show. Congratulations to TNA selling out as well. Over 4,000 people in there. Do not forget this coming week on the TNA Plus app. Get yourself on there and get yourself watching Impact Wrestling this week. Should be a great show. TNA crossed the line for Slammiversary. Just keep on following us at HTT Buckle on Twitter, hitting the Turnbuckle podcast on all social media outlets. We'll be back this week. The Blue Meanie is coming up later this week, as well as all your usual review shows. Until then, everybody, this has been the Slammiversary review on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. Buckle down, everybody. Stay safe and goodbye.